really appreciate everyone making the time. We are very excited and thrilled for this opportunity. We do want to keep this session interactive, open. So if you have questions through the webinar, please feel free to put them on the chat window or circulate them through questions to Anamika Ji or anyone on the Quintype team, and we'll be happy to take them up. We do not want to go through too much of slides, so we will try and mix in a little bit of a live product demo, some examples of client websites that are running on the platform. And also tailor to what's the benefit or what's in it for Smart4bharat members to benefit from this program. So without further delay, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen for everyone. And I hope the slideshow is visible, but we truly appreciate the opportunity. Quick road mapping on what we're going to cover over the next 30 minutes or so is a little bit of a company background to give examples of the work that we've done, an overview of the products that we've been building in the digital publishing ecosystem, along with live demonstrations for some of them, and then some case studies on the work we've done for publishers in the space. Of course, we will wrap up with a Q&A session. We might not have enough time, but I think we can certainly squeeze in a couple questions that benefit the entire group, and following with benefits that would be applicable to Smart4bharat members. So going with how Quintype started, and I think a lot of it is an underlying problem of how technology has been evolving at a rapid clip, and newsrooms, publishing houses are often trying to match pace or keep up with these ever changing needs with whether respect to new social media platforms or new ways of content consumption, new ways of content distribution, and essentially takes away from their core, which is creating content and being able to do it faster for the audience that's looking for the information. So that essentially was where Quintype started building their products. We started off with Bold, which is our flagship headless CMS that focuses on ease of content creation and speed of content publishing, along with an omni-channel distribution system and monetization tools. We also have MeType and AccessType that are extensions that could be used in addition to the CMS, or it could also be used independently on your current setup, the current CMS or current solution you might be using for your content. But MeType essentially is into audience engagement and user-generated content to promote citizen journalism, mobile journalism, similar initiatives like that. And AccessType is basically for premium content, where you want to place some long form content or premium content behind paywalls, subscription groups, subscription plans, membership models, or even a paper story or paper article sort of a model. Along the way, in the last few years, Quintype's also been able to establish off-the-shelf applications. In simple words, we did work with over 120 publishers worldwide, and there's a lot of knowledge, there's a lot of best practices that we absorbed on what the design trends are, what are the most common things that publishers typically ask for, best practices that are followed across newsrooms. And we're able to consolidate all of that and templatize that in some form that allows configurable changes, and be able to launch websites and mobile apps off the shelf, with our headless CMS, of course, that allows publishers to be a lot more faster, quicker to the punch, with high performance, mobile first, digital content properties. And then, of course, we built modules around single sign-on that connects all of these products together, or even legacy newsrooms that maybe using things like an e-paper solution and want to combine the entire identity management of their users, or migrate from your current application over to Quintype using simple WordPress-based plugins, or even a migrator application that allows you to make that transitional journey very smooth without having to go through any loss of data as such. But to quickly build some credibility across the room, as I had mentioned, we're now powering over 100 plus publishers. These are not just national, regional media organizations, but a lot of hyper local content creators, a lot of international publishers, whether they're doing on Thai content, Bengali content, Hindi, Tamil, or even Arabic content that goes in right to left orientation as opposed to left to right. So the application is very flexible, that supports over 150 languages, and sites for publishers that are of all sizes, be it large-scale volume publishers to mid-size regional publishers or small-scale content creators who are just getting started or working off very small newsrooms. But I think the underlying value proposition behind all of that is what we bring to the table. We were working with journalists for over 2 years before we essentially launched the CMS, and there's a lot of should I say, learning and best practices that goes into understanding how newsrooms are operating at a global scale. With a SaaS model powered by world-class infrastructure, we're able to offer the solution in very easy, consumable monthly subscription fees that is scalable only based on the traffic and bandwidth consumption as you grow in your digital properties. But if I had to consolidate everything into one slide to help understand how Quintype, or what's really so different about Quintype, as opposed to other traditional systems that are out there, unlike an open source platform such as a WordPress, Drupal, or Joomla, or other open source tools, we do not work off a plugin based architecture. The entire CMS has been built from the ground up. And we essentially used an API-based framework. So you would imagine a central repository, which will have all your content. And within that central repository, we have modules for Elasticsearch, analytics, the editor, a two-way syndication engine, a subscription management module. But there's no front end really connected to it. What we do is we are able to expose all the content through an extensive and exhaustive layer of APIs. The biggest advantage of doing that is that you could now use these APIs to render your content on any front-end app. The front end could be a mobile app, the front end could be a website, the front end could be email newsletters, it could be social media, it could be push notifications. And it could be on any screen size, all the way from a TV, laptop, mobile, desktop, tablet, even a screenless device like your Amazon Alexas or Google Homes are going to be able to consume these APIs and render your content, from the CMS. So it's a bit futuristic with the ever-changing, evolving needs of a publisher. And we also have the flexibility for publishers that have in-house tech teams to build their own front-end apps or use something off the shelf with Quintype, which is the page builder model or the React Native mobile apps, that you could also opt for as part of the entire solution. I'm just going to quickly check if there are any questions before we move on to the live demo. But irrespective, while they are, please keep them coming on the chat window or the Q&A window that you might have access to. I'm just going to go ahead and open up a few client sites that are already running on the application. Starting with the Quint, as we know, is a general news site, essentially caters to millennials, so the look and feel, the design is very big picture, bold in terms of how they represent the content. But they also run membership models like a Q Insider, or something like a My Report that's only available to members who subscribe, to the Quint program. Other examples around general news sites, we are very familiar with Swaraja Mag itself, that is essentially running a lot of their premium content with paywalls that are either running off digital or print subscriptions, or perhaps even a paper issue or paper magazine sort of a model that allows Swaraja magazine to classify, their issues and subscriber reader revenue. But in other models that are similar to the page builder application, we have examples like Greater Kashmir, and you could really experience the speed and the user experience by which how the ads are laid out, how the stories are laid out, and examples of other properties that are launched perhaps by the India Today group, such as Mumbai Tak, Crime Tak, UP Tak, that are launching in about 17, 18 different languages, and really in a span of every few weeks. So all of these websites, how different they are from each other in the look and feel, in the objective, in the audience, yet are powered by the same CMS. And a lot of this could be done directly by the editorial team. This is a no coding environment that would allow you to pick and choose from a library of design components and be able to construct your own homepage, category listing pages, or article and story pages off of the platform. So very quickly, we're going to reference a demo website for today's presentation. This is a demo website that we've built on the Quintype and Page Builder application. And you'll have to pardon my choice of colors and content because we're just always experimenting on this. But this took us like a couple days to create for today's demonstration. And we could go about making changes to this, for today as we go through the CMS and the front-end app. All of the content is created on the CMS side. So we're going to look at Bold, which is the backend editor, which is essentially what a content creator or a newsroom would use on a day-to-day basis. And this is what the content team would be more familiar with. At the top of the screen is a customizable editorial workflow that allows you to take your stories from an open to submitted, approved, and published state. But before we move along any further, I did want to mention the entire CMS is a mobile-friendly CMS. So you could essentially operate the entire CMS from your smart devices, from your mobile devices. We hear a lot of content creators, journalists are on the move creating content. So whether you are, trying to do your breaking news or live blogs, a lot of it could be handled, or even the movement of content around how it's placed on your home pages, section pages, all of that could be controlled from your mobile devices as well. But for the interest of today's demonstration, we're going to move to a desktop layout. Following the editorial workflow, we have what we call users and roles, where you could define roles for different types of users, whether they are editorial with full-blown access to all areas of the CMS, or you want someone at a more basic content creation level, or an external author, guest contributor, who might just have basic access to create and submit content, but not to be able to approve or publish that. When we look at the story creation experience, and I'm just gonna, you could always start with a news story, breaking news, live blog, or any piece of content from here. But in the interest of time and today's demonstration, We're going to take a story from the open templates. How we visualize a story on Quintype is essentially a stack of cards being put together, and every card is further broken down into what we call elements of a story. So if you see the first card over here, we've got three elements like the headline, subtitle, and a hero image for my story. Now, there's multiple reasons why we take the card and element based approach, and that applies to different stakeholders. From a technical side, it gives you a lot more flexibility to represent every element on the front end app. So what I mean to say is, tomorrow, if you wanted your headlines to come out in bold pink font versus the subtitle to come out in green italic font, all of that is programmable, because you could use the APIs to design a front end of your choice. Editorially, it makes content creation a lot more easier. Anywhere down the path, you'd be able to go ahead and choose from a whole bunch of elements, starting from a title, summary, a quote, block quote, a table, a question, answer, anything. You could even go ahead and embed any social media post by copy pasting links, or if it's going to be about videos, there's a direct search that's embedded within the CMS. So if you wanted to do a YouTube Flow Player Daily Motion search, you could pretty much do a YouTube search directly from the CMS and select and insert your videos. Similarly, with all sorts of content creation, you could move the orientation of your cards and elements. Let's say I want the text to come before, or I want to move the orientation of the entire card before the video. All of these changes are very easy. To the extent you could even go ahead and import previously written stories. I mean, we heard about these redundancies in newsrooms where there are follow-up stories that are being written on existing content. And it is extremely crucial that you're able to take a story from the past, being able to pick a piece of content that's already been conceptualized, and being able to just import that into your existing story to be able to make further changes. Even small things like your hero image. We heard about the need for newsrooms to upload multiple images and go through a design process, as opposed to Quintype, that has a very powerful photo editor that's built in within the CMS to allow you to make very quick changes, let's say frames for social media or text graphic annotations, and even do things like a focus area. Now, there's a live preview that's available throughout as your story is constructed. So you can look how that would appear on a mobile screen as you start building out your content. But there are also things like an image processor or an autofocus. If you see the crosshair that are moving to the left side of my screen, you would also realize that the orientation of the image is going to focus a little bit more towards left. Now, what that does is the automatic image processor will understand the size of the screen and autofocus the image based on what your essence of your story is. As an editorial person, you can make that choice. So you don't have to upload multiple images for the same story. Or you also have the ability to create alternative images. So a different image and a headline that can go on the home page versus the article page, or a different image and headline that's applicable for social media versus what's there on the website. So a lot of these tweaks make the editorial process real fast and easy. Once the content really comes together, or even before the content comes together, you're able to templatize your content depending on the kind of stories you're writing. Let's say if it's going to be the top 10 places to visit, to go, you could take a listicle form, or an interview could take a question answer form, or a live blog could take the latest updates first with date and time stamps. All of these templates are built in within the CMS. So you don't have to particularly worry about structuring or adding all these elements. The elements would be preloaded and you just have to fill in the content based on the type of story that you're selecting. So the product is flexible enough to take the kind of content that you would want. And once the story is really constructed, we could start organizing that. So which section, subsection, or category would it fall into? You know, your authors and advanced options on the different tags you want to use, being able to use canonical URLs or custom slugs for non-English content, or identify a story as a sponsored piece of content, enabling text to speech, or even defining access levels where you want to keep it at the story level, decide whether you want to keep it open to public, behind a login, or behind a hard subscription paywall. So your SEO information, metadata, meta title, pretty standard. But what's even more important is being able to look at your SEO scores. So very similar to, let's say if you're familiar with a Yoast plugin on WordPress, you would be able to identify the red, amber, green areas in the SEO of your story and improve on it, before you take it to a publishing sort of a stage. All of your social media posting. Now, a lot of times we heard there are, writing the story is only half the job, and then making sure the story goes across every channel is another time-taking process altogether. So whether it's a push notification or different social media messaging that needs to go on different social media channels, you could simply add your social media cards, configure your accounts, and decide on a date and time when you want to go ahead and publish that content. So in a system, as they say, you set it and forget it. The same as soon as you go ahead and publish your story, it can immediately go on social media, or it can be triggered on social media based on a date and time that's chosen by the editor or the content creator. So in the interest of time, we have about 10 more minutes. So I'm going to quickly switch over to the last couple pieces. We do have a way to organize all that content on your website, whether it's your home page or your section page. We group content by a concept called collection. So collection is nothing but a bundle of stories that come together, either chosen manually or chosen by some logic or rules. For instance, if we look at a politics collection over here, we can, from the settings, decide what rules, whether it's going to be an automatic or a manual collection. You want it to be from particular sections, have a particular template, or group it by popular authors, or even our internal analytics engine to determine what's latest published or trending. And based on that, decide the stories that come in the order and how you want to place them on your home and section pages. If you want to pin up stories to the top of the section, it's as simple as dragging and dropping and giving them a threshold of how many page views you want the content to hit before it moves to the bottom of the page. The moment you go ahead and publish this, it will update on the collection. If we go back one step, it's also the same way how we would order our homepage. So if you remember the demo site we were looking at, I'm sorry, it's right here. We have the order of sports followed by breaking news, general news, business news, life and style. This is the same order that you would find on the collections over here, which is breaking news, politics, entertainment, sports. So if you really wanted to move entertainment right up top, you could simply drag that section to the top of your collection, hit publish, and as soon as you refresh the screen, we're now going to see the sports section will be replaced by the entertainment section. So it's really as easy to maneuver through your sites, being able to use widgets. All of it on the front end can also be programmed, including the header, footer. Please ignore the blank space you might see on the demo account, but all of this is controlled with the page builder application. So the page builder is how you would determine the front end. From the back end of the website, we're now moving to the front end module that would allow you to decide different things such as settings that would apply across the website. What language and fonts are you using? A color palette based on your branding guidelines, a logo for your website, or even styling options as to how you would want your row title designs, choice of colors, or even the way the content is being tagged across the website. In the manage section, you would integrate everything from your Google Ads or DFP for programmatic ad revenue, a push notification provider, a commenting engine to collect audience interaction, or infinite scroll options to enhance the engagement of your site. There's a whole bunch of third-party integrations that will allow you to connect your Google Analytics tag managers to make sure any custom codes scripts that you might want to run on your website or newsletter signups could all be taken in. And similarly, you would then go into designing every piece of your website, starting from your header with a bunch of options or design layouts to choose from, even to the look and feel of your component. So there's a whole bunch of these design components, some with the lightning mark that tell you they are fast loading and high performance, versus some that would come in sliders without a lightning mark that allows you to make a choice on speed versus user experience, or how you decide to, project that content. So depending on the choices you make, you'd be able to represent everything in your website, starting on deciding anywhere where you'd want to place a story layout, where you'd want to place an ad, whether it's a standard or a custom size, or where you want to place a widget that would allow you to do things like the IPL scores, the coronavirus counts, or any other weather custom, weather information sorts of custom widget codes that you might want to put across the website. That would allow you to start constructing not just your home page, but even drill down into other, say, article pages such as the text story, the photo story, with a very similar layout choosing option. Where do you want, what do you want the page to look at? Where would you like the related stories? Is it going to be an image first or a headline first, or something that goes side by side, and be able to, design your article pages that way. The benefit is that all this is very quick. It does not require any coding. As a content desk, as a small newsroom, you could pretty much design, the basic elements of how you would want your website to appear and make a selection from available options as to how you would want your website to look like. That would essentially, allow you to make different choices, even preview them on a desktop screen and a mobile screen before you take your changes live. And the moment you hit that green publish button, you would realize that all those changes could be live and effective. So that's the desktop preview based on the selection of components we had. That's a mobile preview. As I mentioned, all of these components are high performance, fast loading, PWA enabled. So a lot of times you don't even have to launch a physical Android or iOS app, because anyone landing on your story article pages will get the ability to store it on their home screen through a PWA enabled app, and even do things like visual stories, AMP stories very comfortably. All of this functionality is out of box with the page builder application. So with that, I'm going to very quickly move to some of the customer stories. We're going to skip through a few of the product slides that we've already covered in the live demonstration, and quickly jump into some of the impact we've had on several customers, starting, of course, with Swarajya magazine that also happens to be a Smart4bharat member, in how they've been capturing growth in subscriptions and reader revenue, to national media agencies like the Daily Protham Alo, which is the #1 daily newspaper circulated in Bangladesh, doing traffic to the tune of as much as 200 million monthly page views, to something like Prabhat Cover, more home turf, regional Hindi content that's running off the Bold CMS. Or even examples like News Laundry, Sakal Media, Bloomberg Quint, and multiple options, Thai, Finnish, Arabic, that are running off the page builder application as well. So very quickly, we'll wrap up with giving you a little bit of an insight as to what Quintype's evolving into. What you see in the innermost circle is products that are existing today. The median, the mid layer, or the lightest color of the concentric circle is what we are working towards right now in terms of other applications or modules that we're adding to the ecosystem. And the outermost green layer is where we intend to be over the next 2 to 5 years in terms of our organizational vision on where we're going with the products. But essentially, it's a complete digital ecosystem. You don't really have to come in and take all of it, but pretty much like a buffet where you only take what you eat, you only pay for what you take, sort of a model. And more importantly, I think I'd like to wrap up in the last couple minutes just with benefits that are more exclusive to Smart4bharat members on the call for us today, whether it's starting with an express go live plan, or enjoying exclusive pricing benefits entitled only for Smart4bharat members, assigned relationship managers to make sure all members get the same attention, and hand-holding during the implementation go live period, which only lasts a week or so. And then, of course, a more catered, or should I say, a solution that could be tailored for small to mid-sized newsrooms, that happen to be, newer modern content creators with a digital-first approach. We'll be happy to, have more information, have better conversations. We're happy to do some sort of homework on, maybe an SEO audit on improvement areas on your current website that's under progress as a starting point in good faith for Smart4bharat members. But please do reach out to Anamika ji or Shraddha from our team if you happen to know more or have more information around this, and we could go from there. With that, I guess would be pretty much a wrap for today's session. I did want to thank everyone once more for being patient and hearing us out. I apologize for the confusion on Zoom links again.
Vineet ji, sorry to interrupt, but there are a few questions in the chat box.
Okay, sure. I think we have a few more minutes. Perhaps we can take some of them up. I'm just going to, I do have access to the chat box, so I'm just going to pick them up.
There are only 4 or 5. I think you have enough time, maybe.
Sure. Okay, the first one I see here is, do we have an e-newsletter functionality, creating weekly newsletters, sending that to 10K plus emails? We do have e-newsletter capability. So essentially how e-newsletters or dynamic newsletters would work is we create a collection, and we can expose that collection in the form of an RSS feed that would go into your email service engine, whether that's MailChimp, Mandarin, SendGrid, anything that or even Zoho that you're using. The content for the newsletter can be curated in the CMS and exposed in an RSS feed. That's typically how most publishers are using it today. I have another question that I'm going to go into. What is there for YouTubers who only upload videos and don't have a website? I think that's a great question. We do understand that it's a different kind of content, and it's more on influencer categories. But the simplest example I would give in that respect is India Today, which essentially has more than 20 or 30 YouTube channels as they're launching for each of these tech properties. But being discoverable on search engines would happen when you combine that experience with audio, video, and text. So instead of only being discoverable on a YouTube search or a YouTube channel, if you'd want to appear on the first page of your Google search results, or make your content available on the general Google results, Google Discover results, it might be better to add a little bit more text SEO along with your video that's already on YouTube, and combine the whole experience to drive more SEO juice, page views, and discoverability for your content. I'll move on to a couple of others that seem to be very interesting here. If the website is on WordPress, does it mean that you have to shift your content from WordPress to Quintype and the hosting of the website and content on our servers? The answer to that is yes. We do have plugins available on WordPress that would automatically convert your content to our intermediate JSON format and absorb it in the Quintype platform. But we also have a migrator application that does the matching of fields and transfer of data from one system to the other. We do the hosting of all your text and images, as well as the website on the Quintype platform. All of it is bundled into a very easily consumable monthly subscription fee. And all of it is hosted on a world-class infrastructure. We're talking about the AWS cloud environment, a CDN, along with a backup CDN, Elasticsearch, image processors, API servers, all of that, which is bundled into your infrastructure. We have a specific custom front-end portal design for our news website. Will that be changed? Well, the answer to that is it is absolutely your choice. You are not restricted to any tech stack, any particular front-end framework. If you have in-house capabilities, skills, or there is an external development agency that's building a custom front end for you, irrespective of what the tech stack is, could be PHP, Ruby Rails, Node and React.js, you could access our API documentation and connect your front end with the CMS. So that is also an option that's available. However, the Quintype, in Quintype's purview, our scope ends at providing the CMS. Custom front-end integrations, you would either need an external party or an in-house development team to connect your own front end to the CMS. I guess I'm going to perhaps take one last question before we wrap up. I know there's a favorite question out there in terms of an approximate commercial cost, one-time cost or annual subscription, and how to get a quotation. I would suggest these questions would be best if you happen to be interested. Please let Anamika ji know, and we're looking at building something that's more beneficial for Smart4bharat as a group. So the more, the merrier. And that would also give you more flexibility, easy payment options, etc. So I'm going to perhaps have to park that question. I think that kind of brings us to the end of the list. I hope that was helpful, informative, but if there's anything else, additional questions, please feel free to reach out. We once again want to thank you for the time and the opportunity, and have a great day. Have a great evening.